name is Moritz Horn, and I'm the technical lead developer for GOKb. And I've done that for since 2017, I think. And over that time, we had a lot of features, and we had a new UI that we presented. And lots of interesting stuff. And I want to do a review of the newest features we added, and especially the integration of some workflows into our new UI. All right. I start by describing one new tool that we integrated into our UI, and that is a public KBART validator. I don't know if everyone is knows about KBART and how it works, but it generally is the default exchange format, like a table exchange format for electronic resource packages. And we're using KBART files to import title lists from providers or other sources. And in that process, over the years, we had done a lot of work to have our users, to give our users the tools to identify problems in KBART files they are receiving from providers, and facilitating like feedback, the feedback with the provider, as well as the option to maybe correct some errors on their own. That was integrated into our UI a few years ago, and was then connected to this import functionality, which obviously only registered users with the access rights were able to use. And but since we had this validation tool, we thought it would be best to just open it up to the public, so everyone can check their KBART files for possible errors. And have a tool that also has a nice reporting display of the result. And since this fit into our infrastructure right now as well, this is all done via an API endpoint. So you're sending some information about this KBART file along with the KBART file itself to our system, and you'll get back the result. All right, this is the view of our GOKb UI. As you can see on the top right, we're currently not logged in. So therefore, on the left side, we only have the search functionality. So you are able to access all data in GOKb without any credentials, without any logins. You can look at the packages, the reference titles, and the providers we have. but you don't are not able to create new packages, for example. But we have this new menu option called the KBAT validator, where we try to have a really easy interface to validate KBAT. All right. Am I all right? Sorry. What we wanted to do, or what we did in concordance with this new interface, was we revised and improved the validation itself, and as well as improving the response, so that you have the most detailed information about possible conflicts or errors contained in your KBAT file. This is, as you will see in the next slide, we are having like column-based stats for each package, as well as a row-based detailed view of all errors. Right, so this is the result. You can see the general stats above, I think. So above there's the total number of lines in your KBAT file. But what's interesting is you can see the count of errors for each column, and you would be able to see if any mandatory column is missing here as well. But then you have a table where all of the errors in each row are grouped by row, so you have a very nice list of issues. Or one thing I might add is obviously there's also pagination, so you don't have a huge list of items. If you don't want it, you can split it up and look at it in a clean way. So this was one thing we did, where our internal tools for our users that we worked on, we were able to provide or create a new tools for the general public as well. And then the probably biggest the biggest feature we added or worked on was the display of review requests. So review requests in GOKb are mostly generated automatically. So these are possible conflicts that were detected when the imported data, for example, ISSNs of the titles in the package are matched against what we know about these titles already from other packages. And if we are detecting conflicts from one package basically to another, as well as to this to the reference title that were created by referencing the existing data we have against external systems. The thing we wanted to do is basically to have have a workflow interface for users to look at these conflicts that we identified and resolve them with as much efficiency as possible. So as you can imagine, especially for journal titles, these conflicts can get quite complicated. If you think about title histories and splits and mergers and stuff, and that's something we want to give our users an interface for to resolve these conflicts. Important parts of this were instructions and hint texts, which we're categorizing basically each type of conflict that we're regularly seeing, and we wrote instructions and hints for each one of them, and we're keeping those up to date as well. Then what I'll show you also is like we're trying to use color highlighting to show you the most important information that you're trying to fix. So this is a screenshot of probably the most complicated, or one of the most complicated cases that we have regularly, or semi-regularly, which is there was a package imported, and it looks like a good title with DOI, ISBN, and a print ISBN, but for our existing database, we identified a problem based on this new entry. In this case, there's an entry with where the ISBN was entered as a print ISBN at some point, as well as the online ISBN. And we detected that when a new title was ingested. And this basically gives us the chance to correct existing data that we might have overlooked, existing conflicts, as well as give the option to adjust the newly ingested data. So in this case, we have the option to mark single identifiers in each title and remove them from the title. So in this case, the reference title 2, one of those ISBNs has to go, and it's probably the direct ISBN, since there's another one that we already know of. And then we after that we can merge both of the titles, so it's like a deduplication mechanism as well. I wanted to go make sure you can read it, but I hope you could read it in any case. All right. And the next step for this type of review is the issue is, since we found these two reference titles, which are like the globally referenced title version of this specific ebook, we weren't able to generate weren't able to link the specific package level information to one of those existing titles with enough confidence. And so there's a second step for this review in which, after you cleaned up any duplicates, for example, or any identifiers, you can then link your package-specific title to the reference title, to the global reference title that you like. All right, I think this one is another type of review, but what you can see here is we can identify possible overlaps of specific identifiers. I haven't talked about this this ZDB ID yet. That's the ID of the German National Journal database, and it's a very important ID for linking different systems in Germany, like regional catalogs to each other. And so this is another opportunity for us to check for conflicts in external databases, as well as the incoming data via our KBAT files. So as you can see here, there's a new reference. There's one reference title which is referenced in this with this ZB ID, which has another EISSN compared to the to another title which has the same ZDB ID as well. This tells us that there's either an issue in the incoming KBAT file. There has already been already was an overlap in our database, which we now stumbled upon via this new import, or there is an issue in the external the ZDB database, and that's also relevant for us because we are working together with them. They are curating the journal instances that we are creating in GOKb, or that we're holding in GOKb, and we're trying to be also a medium for them to check their consistency of their database. And we're working also with one other, or we're in the planning states of working with one other institution for harvesting or entering their IDs as well, so that we can also do this for them. This is a similar reference, similar problem, but in this case, there was no new reference title created, so we do have one exact reference title, but the incoming package data has a problem in that the same ISSN is incoming with as a print and as a online ISSN, and the idea is to have the package curator then have the KBAT file optimally corrected by the publisher or the provider of the KBAT file. But also, obviously, you can also in the interim correct the data in GOKb or in a KBAT file that you then import afterwards. All right. This is what I was talking about with the coloring and highlighting of specific information. So if you're planning on deduplicating a title that has overlapping identifiers, for example, it's very important that you are able to come out with the title exactly as you want it and the finished title. So you have to first select which one you want to keep, and then you will have to select possibly delete identifiers of this title that you no longer want, as well as maybe take some of the identifiers that were connected to the now deleted title and transfer them to the new title. So this is the interface we are having for that. So you can see the red title is going to be marked as deleted, and all connected package titles will be transferred over to the remaining title, which means if you're interested in the correct metadata that is underlying the package data that you input, for example, with this new package, all of your if one person or the central clearing station is correcting a single title or deduplicating a title, all titles in all packages, in all connected packages of this title will be also corrected. So you can see corrections that were done by a central authority or some other institution in your packages, which is one of the main ideas of GOKb and the collaborative approach of resource management. I think that was the main gist of the review requests. If you have any questions about review requests, please please feel free to ask. What I would talk about next are some other improvements we did based on feedback from our users. So there was some requests for a more intricate way to search through our data. What we've done a few years ago already was switching over to a full text search that we connected alongside our database. For example, we can now with this addition, we can now search like truncated search and Boolean search is it's much easier than the internal function we had before. That was refined all the time, which also based on user feedback. And right now we're in a very good spot, I think. With full text search, we can do truncated search for names as well. And I think that's one big step we took for improving the recovery or the search inside of the GOKb. One other thing here is also what we added also quite recently is the option to search for identifiers by namespace, which means we can also output all items which have a specific identifier type connected to them, which is obviously interesting, maybe interesting for titles, like for journals, to see how many titles don't have a print ISSN or something. But for us, it's also relevant for the packages, since we are using or we're connecting a lot of packages we import with an identifier that we're having in Germany for packages that are managed by big consortia or national licenses. All right, we're having some emergency outside, but we won't let ourselves get down. What I wanted to talk about next is the export functionality, which was also added quite recently, which was also requested for people to reference their packages, their packages or packages they're interested in externally, for example, as for to other departments and stuff. So we added an export button here. So you have your search, which you can, as you can see here, especially for packages, there are a lot of filters you can apply to the package search. You can search the validity range. So if it's a globally available package, a consortial package, or something else. And the list status is very important because it references if the curating institution has deemed this package as good to go. So all work has been finished on checking all the titles as well, and so on. You can filter by provider, the contained content type, and other stuff. And then you can export the result of this specific, your specific search, which we're providing in a table format, and this is really helpful, I think, for a lot of people to get an overview over, for example, packages they're interested in. Yeah, so you can see all of the package in one view. You can filter by or sort by number of titles and so on. All right. Next to those UI-centric improvements that we did, that users are able to see and work with directly, there was a lot of work done internally as well in GOKb. As I mentioned before, we did a lot of work on validation for kbart files, as well as other information that you would be able to input directly into GOKb. What we also needed was a way to clean up previously imported kbart files that had some reoccurring error, for example, which we had some issues with, like there was an error where all of the EISSNs were put into the print identifier column and so on. So what normally happens if a package gets updated, so an existing package that had already a kbart file imported, if you import a new kbart file, it gets matched against the existing package, and maybe if there are new titles which weren't there before, they will get created, and you get the date where they entered the package. And then you may have titles that are no longer in your new kbart file, which were there before, and we're marking them as retired. So the access to them has ended. This is the default workflow in GOKb. This is, I think, the most reasonable assumption for importing a kbart file into an existing package, but that those titles are marked as they are correct titles, but they just left the package. What we needed is like an option to say all of the titles that you no longer find in this new and revised kbart file, which, so the ISSNs you see in another field now, all of those are, the old ones were errors, basically. And then if you enter this, then you will, they will be deleted, so marked as errors, and you cleaned up a package without needing to create a new package, which may have been problematic since you linked to the old package from Folio, for example, and you would need to do another link or something. Yeah, so that's a new thing we support. Also, something internally which we don't currently provide a user interface for, but we're using in direct consultation with users or providers is a bulk package import functionality. So the option to, based on general information that we're getting from the source about the packages and the links to the kbart file, we were able to create a lot of kbart packages at a time without user input, having to like add a single package one at a time. And something that also has been requested, I think, in another event. I don't know when it was exactly, but for the export of information from GOKb, so package export, one option is to use the OAI PMH format for harvesting the package database. This could be, so by default, the idea is you initially import or export all of the package data that GOKb has, and after you're finished up to your current date, you only look for updated packages and update those and synchronize those when they come up. So the only way to filter right now, up until now, was to get everything from a specific date. Now we added some filtering options as well, so you are able to filter these packages, packages to be synchronized as well by content type. So if you're interested in specifically in journal packages, you can do this independently of the ebook synchronization, for example. You can also filter by the curator group. So if you're interested in your own packages that you are curating in GOKb, then you can filter by those. Also, you can exclude packages that other institutions are curating and have marked as outside of your scope. So local, you are able to curate local packages in GOKb, which you are saying basically this isn't a package that that is relevant for other users of GOKb, but it's like a bilateral agreement or a bilaterally determined title list with the provider. And those you can exclude from other people as well. All right. I think that was that was a lot of new information, an update about what we've done. I think in the last year, probably the most important stuff for our users, as well as some tools that may be interesting as well as for external parties that are interested, for example, in kbart validation. And with that, I think I will give you an option to have some questions. But if there are no more questions, I'm happy to give you an early end for this day. I'm happy that I didn't have any technical issues. But yeah, thank you very much.